The people involved in this project were Justin Shen, Jason Guo, and we were period 7-8. Our teacher is Ms. Renata.
Hi, in this lab we aim to separate a mixture into pure substances. In this lab we use decantation, extraction, recrystallization, crystallization, and filtration. We were able to separate these substances through their different polarities and their solubilities in water. For example, sand is not soluble in water, while it's salt. We also separated benzoic acid in this experiment, which is slightly soluble in water, but only to a certain.
Basically, how we approach the experiment is by doing the steps, reporting the mass of the material we used, plus the measurements after decantation, filtering, and evaporation. Then doing the calculations after we finish the experiment. We did this because we don't want to waste time during the lab by doing calculations. From the lab, we conclude that the mass of sand is 2.62 grams, 0.83 for the acid, and 1.91 for the salt.
Why is there so
Here are our measurements, and we got the results from subtracting the mass of materials we used from the total mass. We calculated the percent composition of each substance using our data and the percent composition formula, which is mass of each substance over the mass of the whole mixture times 100. This is a value that was provided. Then we use the percent error formula, which is measured minus accepted over accepted times 100. So for example, sand I measured 50% minus 35% that was given over accepted 35% times 100, and I get 43% as my error. And here are the error that we've calculated. From these values, we conclude that our experiment wasn't very valid because the error values are very high, which means that there was a lot of deviation from the true values that was given. Unfortunately, our experiment wasn't very reliable either, because first, we did not test it multiple times. Second, during decantation, there was still a lot of benzoic acid left in the beaker. Third, during filtration, the crystallization of benzoic acid didn't finish, which left some benzoic acid residue in the salt solution.
In this lab, we graphed the table on Google Sheets, and the graph is as shown. For question number 2, we got 0.34502 grams, and we got this by plugging in the values into the formula of the line. For question number 3, we got the answer that it would not be saturated, but it would be very close. In question number 4, we got 31.24%. We got this by dividing the grams of NaCl over the grams of the sample. For question number 5, we got that if you didn't let it cool completely, it could have an effect on the experiment because the benzoic acid wouldn't precipitate out of all of the solution, and that would yield different results. Question number 6, we got that it would also affect the experiment because if a large amount of water was used, the water may not have cooled, which wouldn't allow for all of the benzoic acid to precipitate out, and that would yield different results.